really appreciate your cooperation with that, and maybe we can make this an annual thing. We'll talk about that. Another big thank you, I can't see Chloe, but I can see Mia. Chloe Shorrock and Mia with their collaboration in the design of our Renmark Indigenous Guernsey, so round of applause for them. It looks really good. Also a special thank you and a welcome to Auntie Cheryl, who will do the welcome ceremony for us shortly, and Uncle Barney, who will do the smoking ceremony. Now with the smoking ceremony, when that happens, Uncle Barney wants you all to come in a little bit tighter in a bit of a huddle, so I'll let him direct you when that comes around. Okay, I'll pass over to Auntie Cheryl.
Thank you. Firstly, thank you for requesting a welcome and acknowledging cultural protocol. When I do welcome, I like to tell you a bit about me. That makes it a bit more personal. So like I said, Auntie Cheryl, I was born in Nungaruku country. I am Ninte Nungaruku. I lived at Gerard for a while. Grub and Manum lived at Gerard. I now reside in Loxton, one of the better towns. Sorry, Renmark. Go Loxton, can I? No, sorry, no. I am a pastor at One Voice Christian Church in Loxton, so when I do a welcome, I do also on behalf of God. I do not leave him in the church on a Sunday. I am a director of Native Title. I am the vice chair. I am also the business support officer for the River Murray and Mallee Aboriginal Corporation. I currently work for health as well as a cultural learning officer. So I do the cultural training for doctors, nurses, anyone that want it, I will do it. I've just been put on ED as an Aboriginal liaison officer on the weekends. So I better be quick before I get called away. I'm a part of the Aboriginal Visitor Scheme. So I work for Aboriginal legal rights. When our mob get put in the cells, I'm there to support and let family know they're in there. We just started a church service at Cadell Prison on a Monday for the men in there as well. Mum and Dad grew up along the river, so I'm talking age here, my sister is 20 years older than me. So my mum and dad brought her up on a shack on an island. So we learnt to swim as kids, as you do if you lived on an island. I remember sweeping dirt floors, so we didn't have homes. We had tin shacks, but what a privilege, what an honour. I can be thankful for what I have now. Dad was born under a willow tree. Mum was born in a tent. So hospitals are new in the scheme of Aboriginal people. The correctional services are new. Education is new. Mum was born in a tent, Dad under a willow tree. They had no birth certificates, so now our young people need birth certificates for housing, birth certificates for positions that come up, jobs that come up. We need a proof of Aboriginality. We are the only race that I know of that have to prove who we are. That keeps us down and behind the 8 ball a bit. Ano Ninti Nangai Marundi Nota Rinta Rui my Ninte Nungaruku culture. Marundi, Rinta, Nota, and like his brother said, Nyuku, all are words for the river. We name our rivers as living things that they are. You can't put a stagnant law on a living river. It does not work. Nanawi Michi Nacho Cheryl Giles. My name is Auntie Cheryl Giles. Nyapi Ninte Nungaruku Mimini. I am Ninte Nungaruku. Nangai Giles Cook Perry, my dad. That's his ties. Giles Cooks and Perrys. Miwi, my mum, is Cropinuri Sainsbury Adams. Noldi welcome on behalf of Nangai and the First Peoples of the Murray and Mallee. I welcome any elders that are here from any nationality. Your wisdom is still valued. Welcome. Welcome any mobs visiting from other countries. Welcome. Our land is made up of the Ninte, Nangaruku, Irarung, Narauta, Narkat, Nawang and Nawait people. Our country goes from SA, New South Wales and a bit of the Victorian borders, right out into the Mallee, along to Morgan, Blanchetown. We acknowledge the laws, ceremonies, language, traditions that are still alive today. We have a connection to country that cannot be taught in books, but out there on country. Our museums and cemeteries are still being found on country. Our photo albums are out here on country. If I see a swan, that reminds me of eating swan soup. There's a memory for me. If I see pelicans, that reminds us of our culture, making pelican feather flowers. I'd like to acknowledge young people that are here today. You are our future. We all have something we can give. If we can all put this knowledge together, come together in reconciliation, in respect, in forgiveness, what a community this would be. Ano Nyinti, thank you. Just rattling on and on. On and on and on.
Thanks, Auntie Cheryl. Good evening, everybody. I won't talk as much. No, sorry. I'm just going to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our culture and to uphold peace for our people and for everybody. And I'd like to say, on behalf of Aboriginal people, that everybody should be, as one in this country, because this is a great country. Don't be like the other countries who are fighting over nothing and, senseless things. I just want to say thanks to the Riverland Football Club for putting this event on, and hopefully it'll be a continual event for, the community and for, for this part of the country. And I'd like to say, and wish may the best team win out of Renmark, who I buried for, and Loxton, who she buried for. No, I'm just saying. But yeah, thank you. I'll just explain about the smoking. It's just a gift from God to our people, and they used it for many occasions, hunting, for camping sites, to ward off evil spirits, and that's what I'm going to do now to, do the smoking ceremony and ward off any evil spirits and to keep our, the footy players safe, that they don't get injured, and hopefully the best team win. So yeah, thank you for your time. Hey, God bless.
Thanks, Auntie Cheryl. Thanks, Uncle Barney. So if the boys, players, playing groups, B grade as well, if you want to join in, just make a nice tight huddle round Uncle Barney for the smoking ceremony, and then we'll get on with having a good game of footy.
of spots, but you'd have to stand out there for a fair while to get wet. It is good. It's welcome precipitation to the district, and probably will just make the oval just so much better to play on.
Yeah. A couple of other interesting notes before this game gets underway for the Renmark Rovers. Number 7, put a marker next to that name, Toby Johnson. It's his first A-grade game for the club, younger brother of Declan Johnson, who's been a pretty key member of the forward brigade for the Rovers in the last few seasons. So great to see another player getting a call-up. And also, Nobby, one of our favourites at 5RM Riverland football, Ricky Garrett, raises the bat this afternoon. 100 games.
Yep, and that's excellent. Well done, and well done to Ricky. We like the way he plays like he works hard, tough, and all over it. It's like he does with that concreting he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also another milestone game at another venue today. Joel Worsfold playing his 150th for the Panthers. So congratulations to them both. And I'll tell you what, Lockie, we haven't started to sit down and sort out the 5RM Sports Saturday medalists yet. But I'll tell you what, Ricky Garrett's in the reckoning.
Righto, you've heard it here first, an early tip. Sides now are ready to take their spot for this round 10 fixture to get underway. 5RM Riverland football live for McDonald's at Renmark. Peak chicken is upon us with the new McWings at Macca's. Another big favourite of ours is the Young Charger Award, which I think we might shift to the Top Apprentice Award. We might just rebrand that one.
That's a good idea.
And maybe the Top Apprentice for the year can get the golden spanner. What do you reckon? Or the golden hammer, whatever it might be in the afternoon.
I like the golden hammer, particularly if he's a defender and he drops the hammer on the attackers.
It's all thanks to Hoops Auto and Full Drive Set of Renmark, the Young Charger / Top Apprentice Award. A couple of big names in that one this afternoon, and in particular Loxton, and a couple of young players that have impressed us a lot this year. Caden Evans for the Tigers, also Ryder Montgomery, another up-and-coming Loxton player. As well, some other players of note that have been big players for the Tigers this year. Harley Campbell in particular. I know he's only just in his first couple of seasons of A-grade senior football, but he looks like he's been playing for a lot longer.
Oh yeah, look, with Harley, he's not only right in the gun for the young gun, but I would think he'd be polling pretty well in the Willis Medal too, Lockie.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's probably been in Loxton's best. Well, I haven't gone through the numbers, but most weeks. So he's going to have to play a big role this afternoon. The Tigers, albeit being in 5th on the ladder, do have a strong record at Renmark in recent years, which is one of the anomalies of 5RM Riverland footy data. Nobby, it's an outlier, to coin a statistics phrase.
Yeah, it certainly is, Lockie, and the other sort of things that sometimes make our game a little bit, gives it another dimension, makes it a little bit interesting.
That's what I'm looking forward to this afternoon. Loxton, I've often said they tend to lift a couple of pegs for the big games and the big moments. Maybe they need to do it a bit more consistently. Maybe today is where the finals charge starts for the Tigers.
Look, we've seen them play very well up here in past seasons against Renmark when they weren't fancied. I'm expecting that today, but once again, it will take a really good start. You've got to put scoreboard pressure on the Renmark Rovers, and even if you're up at half-time, you can't count them out because they're on ball brigade, led by coach Josh Vader, and normally Matt Wolford's a key player in that fight back, as we saw last time we watched them play. But yeah, if you can keep it on them on the scoreboard, I think that's the best pressure you can put on the Renmark Rovers lineup.
And I'm going to say it, I think Loxton have rocked up to Renmark today and they've probably got their best shot at taking down the Rovers in quite some time, because I look at the players that Renmark have running water today, and I wouldn't say they're battling for numbers, but there's a lot of key outs.
We're talking Trevor Thorpe.
Trevor Thorpe's got the water runner's bib on this afternoon, so he won't be lining up. Also, Tim Wolford, the two-time Willis medalist, league best and fairest winner, he's also not lining up this afternoon.
He's been out since he did that hamstring when we were up here earlier in the year, which was quite a severe hamstring. It was right in the middle, and we thought that would be a month to 6 weeks, and it's turned out just like that.
Alex Haynes, the other one, he hasn't played for quite some time. He is one of the Rovers' big men who's not lining up this afternoon, nor is Tim Blight, the key forward. He's only played the one game for the year. So a couple of outs of note for the Renmark Rovers, and long-term outs.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that so loud about Tim Wolford, because his mum and his dad is sitting right in front of us, and turned around and had a bit of a chuckle. And I think we might have got that right, actually.
I did hear some discussion about Tim wanting to maybe play this week, but I hear that may have been shut down pretty quickly by brother Matt.
Well, what's the old saying? When you do your hamstring the week you're ready to come back, take another one, just to be certain. But
I was privileged to that conversation firsthand at the Barmera Monash Football Club 3 weeks ago. I heard Matt put the hammer down. It was good to hear.
Hey, you mentioned that the big fella missing from the Renmark lineup, which once again puts the heat back on Zach Gartery in ruck to come up, because Loxton's big man department is strong and it's good. You've got Carter Wright, who we saw play very well against Loxton a couple of weeks ago, and we saw that game. You've also got Braden DePrince, who was possibly in the top 3 or 4 ruckmen in the comp to go up against, and throw in some tall forwards like our favourite big fella at half forward for Loxton, Talon Eagle, and all of a sudden Renmark have got a problem perhaps with some of the height if Loxton use it to their advantage. Look, the other thing I did get word from the street, Lockie, was that Coach Nathan Brown might be carrying a calf injury. It might be on one leg, but we'll wait and see. And also I heard that Brodie Rowlands had a suspect ankle, but I see he's named and lined up. So, so obviously this game means a heck of a lot to the Tigers. It's one they must win to stay in finals contention. So they've brought everyone and as many as they can to get the job done.
Yeah, just looking at the conditions this afternoon, players now in their final moments of the warm-up. Sitting around 14 degrees, wind speed currently 9 kilometres an hour for a northerly. This oval is the largest in the Riverland Football League as well, which can play a little bit of an interesting quirk to some results. 166 metres long, which is the same distance as the old footy park, Nobby Norton, but here's the kicker. It's the width that catches teams out at Renmark. 140 metres at its widest point.
So at 166 metres long, it's 16 metres longer than the new Crows headquarters at Theberton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that oval, which we've been in big discussions on 5am Sports Saturday.
Yeah.
Maybe that's more maybe to mimic Marvel Stadium, perhaps.
Yeah, well, you'd fit Marble Stadium in there easy. Are you trying to work out how Renmark Pringle can put a roof over this? Is that what
Well,
you're
it'd be a big ask. 140 metres across the middle. It's interesting. This oval is actually the same length as Loxton, but it's the width that's the difference. Loxton's only 115 across. I did the measurements this morning, got the trundle wheel out and did a bit of a road trip. This is 5RM Riverland football for McDonald's Renmark. Peak Chicken is upon us with the new big
Who's won the toss, Lockie? Did you see
I actually missed it. There was a few umpires that were shepherding that out. I didn't quite see it.
Well, look, it's not going to make any difference because the windsock is literally hanging straight down. The conditions are good. There's no wind at all, and we saw that during the smoking ceremony, that the smoke was virtually just going straight up in amongst the playing group. So I'm thinking it's probably not an advantage, although I believe that the club room's end was the scoring end in the seconds, and Loxton will be defending that end.
Yeah, so Brodie Rover lining up forward for the Renmark Rovers. It's going to be a big job for him this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's what I'm sort of looking around this, thinking that we saw Renmark, they play with a mobile, smaller forward line. Loxton have gone with some tools.
Well, there we go. Siren sounds. We are underway at Renmark. 5RM Riverland football for McDonald's at Renmark. Renmark get their hands on it first, but umpire says holding the ball.
Yeah, good call. The big fella took him on, and Loxton took the advantage of that. Yep. Shot the ball forward to Talon Eagle, who was interfered with as he came from centre half forward.
The Tigers now quick dish off to Jesse Will, drives it inside 50, but intercept from the Renmark Rovers. The Rovers know how to defend, and that is Zach Gartery in defence, who just goes a little right foot kick to the eastern wing rather, if I get my geography right, and Renmark work it up the ladder, so to speak.
Yeah, Gartery covered ground there because he's at the centre bounce and then got back, pushed hard to get back and take that intercept mark. Renmark try and bring the ball out of defence, but they're still deep in their own defence, coming back across the ground, come up the wing, looking for and finding Perry on the wing, who takes a solid mark for Renmark. He now tries to drive them forward, and he does.
Yeah, ball loose now at half forward for the Renmark Rovers. Loxton pick it up, but tackle quickly. Holding the ball is the call. A little bit late on the disposal there for Carter Wright. And now the Rovers, through Toby Johnson playing his first game of A-grade football, kicks it inside 50. Get under that, good luck. It's an intercept mark from the Loxton Tigers, and they just hold station.
It's Carter Wright who was penalised for holding the ball, got back behind it and took the intercept mark. Unfortunately for Toby Johnson, his first kick in A-grade football wasn't a goal, and it wasn't even a possession that went to a teammate. So the young fellow will try a bit. He'll learn from that. He'll learn to look up and go quietly. Ball up at half back. Over goes Gartery for Renmark. Thumps it towards their attacking end, but can't get it free from the pack. And that was in the arms of Ricky Garrett playing his 100th game today. Up it goes again. Both ruckmen up. Ball doesn't come out of the pack.
Yeah, Loxton tried to work this one through like a rugby scrum, and there was a couple of loose hands. Umpire Todd Charlton says holding on, and Loxton with the free kick on. Left half back, that's Cale Smith, just holding up for a sec, just looking for an option. Decides to, when in doubt, drive it long. A couple of Renmark players underneath it, and Zach Gartry picks up the crumbs, but intercept from Braden de Prince. Now Ross Romeo for the Loxton Tigers, a loose handball. They've still somewhat got possession. Carter Wright couldn't quite pick it up off the deck. An umpire's going to say, my ball, a ball up, broadcast wing.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure on at the moment, a little bit of indecision from some players, and Romeo there probably needed to click that onto his boot and get it forward. Up goes Gartery for Renmark again, first hand on the ball, but it comes out of the pack. Harley Campbell gets loose with it, shoots it out to Spiro Polymiotis, who drives Loxton into attack towards Coach Brown at half forward. He can't bring it in, it goes out of bounds for a throw in at half forward for Loxton.
Just on the 3-minute mark on the Ricatera Wine Room clock here at 5RM Riverland football. First quarter underway, ball in, it's a good one. Tap forward, Loxton trying to pick this one up off the deck and drive it inside 50, but they can't. It's still loose on the deck. Umpire picks it up, play on. Spiro Polymiotis gets a handball out. Now a kick inside 50. Is that going to shepherd through for a goal? It's still in play. Deep in attack for Loxton. They hold it in.
Brock Salmon down there trying to get his hand on the ball, and Loxton have come out with intent.
That is the sentiment of the game so far. A ball up, deep in attack for Loxton. Tap over the boundary line. No, it wasn't. Jesse Will back to Nathan Brown. Brown tackled over the line, and Josh Vader made sure that one went out of bounds.
Yeah, the old 1-2 between the two Loxton players, but the 3-4 was Vader. He had them both covered.
So ball in. What would you say? 15 around from the Tigers' goal.
Yep. Up it goes. Ruckman at it. Gartery first hand on the ball again for Renmark. Comes out towards Ross Romeo. He can't get hold of it for Loxton. And that'll be a secondary ball up here at half forward. Going towards the hospital end. Loxton in attack.
So another ball up. Starting to get a little bit tight, isn't it?
Yep, no score so far. So that tells you how tight the game is. Ball comes out of half back. Garrett drives Renmark forward, looking for, but can't find a teammate. I think that is Rover, who pushes his man out of the way, Brody Rover, and tried to have a bounce, tackled by a Loxton player. Pressure on. Carter Wright wraps up a Renmark player, and that'll be a ball up at half forward for Renmark. Ball moved quickly from one end to the other there.
Yeah, Brody Rover just had to get that one on the hands a bit quicker, and Matt Wolford was there. Ball up inside, attacking 50 for the Renmark Rovers. Loxton defenders try and move it out, but it's Josh Vader, the Renmark coach, who gets a kick away, finds a teammate in Nick Gillard, and the Rovers will go back for a set shot.
One thing's as certain as sunrise and sunset, Lockie, is Josh Vader using the football very well and finding someone. He never panics when he's got it, and you almost can guarantee he'll look horizontally across the ground for someone rather than try and drive it long to a pack of players. And he's done that. Gillard here having a first shot at goal for Renmark. He'll kick from about 40 metres out, almost directly in front on his left foot, drives it towards the goals. Goal umpire does not move, sways back his head, puts out the two arms and says, that's a goal. And it's the first score of the game, and it's a goal to Renmark, a goal to Nick Gillard. They lead 1 goal, 6 points to Loxton yet to score.
You'd say Loxton have probably had more of it in the first 5 minutes of this game, but Renmark, as always, making the most of their opportunities. To my calculations, that was their second inside 50, and that's resulted in a goal. So
it was. The first one was the one off the back of Brody Rover, who took it inside 50 himself and then fumbled and couldn't get a handle back on it. So probably that is almost the first meaningful entry into their forward 50.
So the Renmark Rovers on top on the Berry Better scoreboard. Back to the middle it goes. And I think we're going to get a second throw up here, a ball up.
It just shows you the importance of efficiency in kicking, doesn't it? And when you're moving that ball forward.
Yeah, on a day where that little bit of misty rain's starting to get a little bit more, skills are going to be pretty important this afternoon. 5RM Riverland football from McDonald's Renmark. Another ball up in the middle.
Up it goes. Ruckman up. Gartery over the top of Carter right there, but couldn't get it clear of the pack. Into the hands of John Fisher. Ball up again. Up it goes. Secondary ball. This time Gartery up high for him. Thumps it forward, but the ball comes back to Wright, who handballs to Fisher. Fisher drives Loxton forward. Ball knocked away. Free kick, but going through was a Loxton player, so it was play to advantage. Ball goes down in the forward pocket towards Brown, but out of bounds off hands it goes. That'll be a boundary throw in the far side forward pocket from us. Hospital end in Loxton's forward line. Loxton will look to answer that first goal from Renmark.
Ball now back in play. Nathan Brown read that well. He got a wobbly old kick towards the forward pocket. Still in play. Loxton Tigers look dangerous. Have they slotted one here? I reckon they have. And that
one behind only, and that was Harley Campbell, I reckon, got that on his boot. Normally he doesn't miss those, so I don't blame you for thinking it was a goal, Lockie, but it just missed.
Tried to talk the goal umpire into it. So a behind for the Loxton Tigers takes them to 1. Trail now Renmark by 5 on the Berry Better scoreboard. 7.5 minutes gone. 5RM Riverland football.
Yeah, Renmark player coming to the bench with a bit of shoulder trouble here, and I think it might be Lachlan Lelman has come here, and he's got a bit of a right forearm issue right in front of us. Cody Cornelius waiting at the boundary ready to come on, as are 2 Loxton players at the bus stop here at Renmark.
So ball now back in play. Loxton have other ideas though, and they go on the rebound. They've locked that one in.
That was Tregeagle for Loxton over on the other side there. Came through. His closing speed on the ball was quick. Made a contest, got the ball on the ground, gave his forwards a chance to hold it in their zone. Boundary throw in, forward pocket for Loxton, trailing by 5 points here at the Renmark Oval. Hit out from De Prince to a Loxton player. Ball comes out to a couple Loxton players on his left foot. A beautiful kick. I reckon that was Campbell too.
Caden Evans.
Caden Evans.
Yeah,
oh
man.
And he has started off today where we saw him finish. Hit his coach, Nathan Brown, right on the chest. Brown will have a shot. First meaningful shot for goal for Loxton from the forward pocket, kicking around the corner as we see on AFL quite a bit, and kicks truly. And that is Loxton's first goal. Goal to Nathan Brown takes him to 1-1-7, leading Renmark 1 goal only on the Berry Better scoreboard, and that's the play Loxton needed. Coach Vader coming from the ground and going straight into the change rooms, not limping or anything, maybe just looking for something to be adjusted, some strapping or something.
We've seen this a bit at Renmark. Players quick to go off into the change rooms, and you think, things are panicking and things are... We've had occasions where players have even left the field to help players in the change rooms here.
They might have left the packet of killer pythons in the change rooms instead of on the bench, so he's gone for a lolly.
Interesting. So we'll follow what's going on there at the moment. The Tigers in front on the Berry Better scoreboard, coming up to 9.5 minutes gone.
Both ruckmen up. No one can get it clear. Down on the ground again. Out it comes. Loxton player tries to bring it out, and Loxton do bring it out towards Caden Evans. Gee whiz, he's a bull in there, isn't he?
Hard at it. That's why we love him at 5RM Riverland football. Has a crack. Ball now back up. Both teams paddling this one forward, and there's Harley Campbell who gets the clearance. A quick kick inside
to
50.
Brown.
Brown, the target,
Oh.
just dropped short. Renmark defenders, a couple of hurried handballs. Harry Beavers just boots it, gets it up to left half back, and the Rovers take possession. But the Tigers were on then. They were fast.
Gee, Brown nearly brought that in. It was yorked him, to use a cricket term. He almost got there, and had he pulled that in, that would have been quite a comfortable shot for goal. Good work by Campbell out of the middle. Broke free of the ball up and carried the ball 10 metres and put it only to where Brown could get it.
Coach Josh Vader ready to go back on, it would appear. So it's waiting for a change up. Now another ball up. Renmark get it, the clearance, kick it inside 50 through Garrett. Gillard the target, it spills short. Brody Rover ran over the top of it. Loxton defenders, that was smothered. Gillard, like a dog with a ball, trying to hold it back in.
Look at
Gets
him
it again.
Look at him positioning himself outside that pack. Snaps onto the left foot, drives it forward, knocks through for a behind. That ties up the scores here at the Renmark Oval. Renmark 1-1-7, Loxton 1-1-7 on the Berry Better scoreboard. I can't help but think these conditions out there, the slipperier they get with that wet ball will play into Gillard's hands.
Yeah, as one of your favourite sayings, the big men don't get shorter on a rainy day.
No, and the other thing on a wet day, the highly skilled players stand out even more.
So Loxton bring it out, grandstand side at Renmark. Oh, and a clash between two Renmark players. Caden Evans gets a kick away for Loxton, but not really to a target. Spills forward. Renmark read that well. As Dan Wolford brings it out to right half forward. Brody Rover couldn't quite rake it in, but has a couple of metres, gets it on the boot, to the pocket. Gillard the target, spills through the hands. It might be getting slipperier out there than what we think.
Yep.
Loxton booted out on the far
Roth
flank.
brought that ball out of the fence. Fisher running through half-back for Loxton, drives them forward towards centre wing, towards Talon Eagle. He's having quite a tussle there with his opponent. Ball breaks free. Loxton try and get the ball forward, cannot. I think we're heading for a ball up there right on centre wing in front of the scoreboard.
This is 5RM Riverland football. Live on a Saturday afternoon, 91.5 FM, 8:01am and 5rm.com. A good tap from Gartree for the Renmark Rovers. Now they get a kick away, goes over the top, spills loose inside 50. Loxton, Rollins tries to dodge the players. He might have tried too many and he's been done holding the ball. So Renmark with the free.
Took on one, beat 50. Them, but the second one wrapped him up. Yeah, good stuff from the young fella, but couldn't quite break free. Lovely kick forward from Renmark, straight in the path of Nick Gillard on a very fast lead, and you're never going to be able to stop that in delivery like that. He had the break, was two metres forward of his opponent. He will now line up from about 35 metres. He'll kick this, having already kicked their one and only goal so far. Can he make it multiple goals?
Good delivery from Matt Wolford before. Has the kick.
Goal umpire doesn't move. That's the second goal for Renmark. The second goal for Nick Gillard takes them to 2-1-13, leading Loxton 1-1-7.
5RM Riverland football, live from McDonald's at Renmark. Peak Chicken is upon us with their new McWings at Macca's.
It was a it was an excellent kick from Wolford to Gillard on a very fast lead, and took it in his hands in front of his face, and had two bites at it, but there was no way he was ever going to put that down.
So just checking the clock, 13 and a half minutes gone. Back to the middle it goes. To Prince, got a hand on it, but Renmark through Josh Vader, read that well, gets a handball out. Now a kick away on the far wing, spills over the top, and they're fast at it. I reckon that's Cody Cornelius running for it, but it spills out of bounds, and we'll get a ball in.
When you watch Renmark from those centre clearances, as soon as someone looks like they're going to gain possession, someone provides that option wide, and another player runs forward to give them two options with the footy.
Like chess, 3 moves ahead.
Yep.
Good tap from De Prince, but Renmark read it well. Matt Wolford, Dan Wolford rather. Oh, Rovers get a wobbly old kick away. Romeo for Loxton trying to battle, but too many Rovers there, and they drive it inside 50. Just spills out.
Yeah, well played by the Loxton defender, and that was Hayden Stevens, who we've seen a bit in the seconds. Only played a couple of A-grade games, but he played that perfectly against Gillard. He beat him to the ball, but here he is some 40 metres off Gillard. He did the right thing and hit the ball before Gillard could get it, but he's going to have to play him tighter than that. In close, Dan Wolford, handballed at Vader, having some good touches in around the footy. Back to Cornelius. He tries to get it clear. Renmark bombed the ball forward to no one in particular. Ball comes loose. Matt Wolford chips over the top, and I think he's nailed this. No. Loxton player gets there in time to soccer it through from behind, taking Renmark to 2-2-14, leading Loxton 1-1-7 on the Berry Better scoreboard.
Yeah, 5RM Riverland football. Some big games going on this afternoon. We'll get some updates of those. Nathan Brown, the Loxton coach, now in defence, takes the kick out. It's a lovely kick, but it's gone straight to Renmark. And they're going to drive it back inside, attacking 50.
Lovely kick.
Spills forward. Declan Johnson couldn't quite rake that one in. Loxton desperate to clear this one out. It's now out of their defensive 50, but a couple of loose handballs, and Renmark get their hands back on it. Loose inside 50. Trying to run onto this one. A shot at goal through Stockman, and that has missed to the left.
Renmark had an extra player in their forward line there. I wasn't sure. I think it was Garter had moved forward and had no opponent with him, and they could have made more of that.
2-3-15 at Renmark, leading Loxton 1-1-7 on the Berry Better scoreboard. 16 minutes played, first quarter.
I think Brown's put himself upfield to try and just stop that little bit of momentum that Renmark had just to hang on to what they've got. Ball comes out to half-back. Mark taken by Riley Walton at half-back for Loxton. Looks back, goes back in the middle to Brown, who kicked it out to him. Brown takes another kick and squares it off to the far side of the ground, finding Jesse Will. He looks up short. Loxton kept playing a bit of keep the ball away here.
We've seen a bit of that from the Tigers this year. Now, no, just inboard. That's that 140-metre width I was talking about, Nobby. It's still in play.
Lovely smother by Loxton play there as a Renmark. I think it was Dan Wolford sought to drive Renmark forward, but Renmark players everywhere. Chain of handballs, an easy kick into the forward lines. Roland's up, nearly pulls in an absolute hanger, puts it down, and whose hands does it fall into? Nick Gillard.
who's going to have a shot at goal.
Called into the side in place of Liam Jackson today, Cody Cornelius. So Jackson's normally good for 1 or 2 goals. So if he's playing in that role, he's got to be good for 1 or 2.
We saw him earlier this year, Cornelius, in his first game, I think it was, when the Rovers played Barmer Monash here.
Yep.
So, great mind thinking there from Gillard there to palm that one off quickly. Cornelius now, 35 out, small angle, minor score.
Yeah, leaves it out to the right for another behind. Takes Renmark to 5-7-37, leading Loxton 1-2-8 on the very better scoreboard. How much time's ticked away on that Ricatera wine room clock, Lockie?
12 and a bit minutes gone, second quarter. Lights still on. That misty rain has stopped for the moment.
Yep, surface, just a little bit of slipperiness on the surface for the ball. Brown whistled to bring the ball back into play for Loxton. Drives it wide, can't find his teammate out there. Off hands, out of bounds, boundary throw, and went off hands of Declan Johnson there at half forward for Renmark. So Renmark stay inside their forward 50. Dangerous yet again. A repeat attacking opportunity.
So another ball then. It's a couple of taps over the top. You think it was Thursday night volleyball at the Renmark Rec Centre there for a second, but now Lellman all spoiled. Rothy for Loxton. Now still wrapped up though, and we'll get a ball up just inside the centre square. Renmark's slight advantage.
Good solid play, defensive play there by Rothy. Kept the ball in front of him, kept it moving forward towards his goals. Out it comes, handball, quick handball from Harrison Brown. Finds Declan Johnson, shoots it forward. Rover on a lead, takes a nice mark overhead. Nice passage of play from the Rovers there. Move the ball quickly, efficiently, and without error. And this will be a shot at goal for Rover. Second shot this quarter. From 30 metres out on about a 45-degree angle. But from where we're looking here, all he's got to do is aim it at the chimney on that house, and he'll bring up a major score.
So what's he going to do here? Not a bad angle to kick from, Nobby.
Yep, straight at the chimney, Lockie. And he does. Look at that. Straight at it. No trouble at all for Brodie Rover. Kicks his second goal of the day, and Renmark 6 takes him to 6-7-43, leading Loxton 1-2-8. Not saying Loxton can't get up here. It would take a Herculean effort, but they need to try and make sure the percentage doesn't play against them as well.
That is true, and it must be frustrating for Loxton because although they maybe had control of it there for a good 5 minutes, unable to score in that time. They had one inside 50, but just the slightest slip and that slight turnover, Renmark capitalise.
Yeah, it's the first goal of the quarter, so plenty of time for the Tigers to come back. In the middle it goes, but this time Renmark coach Vader takes possession of the ball, drives them forward yet again. Space in the Renmark forward lines.
Spills out in front of Gillard on the far pocket, has a shot almost from the boundary. It looks good, and that is the very better goal of the day so far.
Yep, and his fourth of the day takes Renmark to 7-7-50. Is it 7-7-41?
49.
49, leading Loxton 1-2-8. Quick movement of the football there, sure handling. Did you see how Gillard kept his feet, bodied his opponent over, and then rebounded back to take possession of the ball from his teammate? Made no mistake from that forward pocket on his left foot. He's in the right pocket for a left footer, and made no mistake. Goal umpire did not have to move, went straight over his head. 2 goals in 2 minutes for Renmark. Things starting to get a little bit anxious for the Loxton team here if they're going to stay in this game.
Coming up to 15 and a half minutes gone, second quarter. Yeah, Loxton have to find a spark somewhere. We've seen glimpses. It's going to see it a little bit more consistently.
Yeah, they've got to start driving that. They've got to break that line, try and get that ball forward past the Renmark players who are lining up behind it. Out of the middle comes Jesse Will, Loxton captain, drives them forward with a bit of a mongrel punt. This time they have numbers. Taken high, the Tiger player. He will get a free kick here at half forward. Handballs out straight away to Wilkes, cruising past into the goal square, thump to the ground and out of bounds for a boundary throw-in near the point post in the right forward pocket for Loxton.
If anything, the Tigers probably got out of that. Will's kick wasn't going to go the distance, so to get a boundary throw-in is probably better than a opposition kick in, I would have thought.
What I did like about the Loxton skipper is he took the game on. That's what they got to do. Take it on, put some pressure on the Renmark defence. Out of attack this time, ball coming towards Tristan Jackson. Can't get a look at it. Lovely kick at goal by Ryder Montgomery. Straight through. Lovely snap by the young fella. And I think that might have just overhauled all previous entries for the very better goal of the day.
Yeah, it takes Loxton to 2-2-14, brings the margin back to 35. Renmark leading 7-7-49. Bit of a spark from the Tigers. They have responded. They don't want to let Renmark get another one before half time.
I saw young Ryder out at the high school during the week, Lockie, and all he could talk about was football, football, football.
That's good to hear. Education's going well at Loxton High School this week for UW Norton. Oh, so the light's still on here at Renmark. Good crowd in, albeit the weather conditions not favourable, but that's what we love about Riverland footy. As the Dan Wolford gets the soccer off the ground, it's a fair kick. Declan Johnson, he's got all the pace, but he was a bit too quick at it and actually socketed it forward. And now it's Harley Campbell for the Loxton Tigers on the far wing. Just hold station for a sec. Now drives it long and direct, looking for DePrince. Oh, great defensive mark, and that is Adrian Herodor.
Yeah, bodied the big fella under the ball and took the mark. Umpires said, hang on, you're pushing. Oh, I thought that was a fair contest, but never mind. We're a long way away over this side of the oval.
So that could have been the mark of the day. Yep. Loxton drive it quickly inside, attacking 50, and that spills out of bounds and get a ball in.
Yep, change of players here on the boundary line. Brodie Rover coming off for a bit of a spell, replaced by Ricky Garrett, who came off for his little bit of a rotation. He goes straight back into the middle. And now they have a bit of a mismatch because Brodie Rowlands will have Ricky Garrett as an opponent. And Garrett's about a foot shorter and a little bit more of a ground player. Ball into the Loxton forward lines. Fighting for it, the Tigers. They've lifted their gate a little bit after that wonderful snap at goal from Montgomery.
Yeah, a bit of a spark. Sometimes that's what you need. Coming up to the 19-minute mark. Good tap. Umpire's called something here, and we're going to get a free for holding on.
What was going on here was Brown was trying to go through the pack for the hit out, was being held before he got into the middle of the contest, and he'll go back and he'll kick from about 45. I reckon this is about his max. Don't be surprised if he's looking around for an option, although Renmark have got the short options covered.
So what are we going to see here? The Loxton coach.
They've zoned up well, the Rovers, so you'll have to go full distance here.
I think he's probably got it in his wheelhouse.
He's got it. His distance, no problem. Accuracy just fails him, pushes it to the right. Takes the Loxton score to 2-3-15, trailing Renmark 7-7-49 on the Berry Better scoreboard.
Renmark waste no time in driving that out to the right back pocket. They bomb it up the line even further to a pack. This could play into the hands of Loxton if they can read the play well. Trig Eagle trying to get, Walton trying to get his hands on it. A bit of keepings off. There's Garrett running through the pack. Dan Wolford's in there as well. And Adrian Herodor spits it out to Zunic. Zunic gets a kick away out to centre wing. Renmark trying to work this one through. Umpire says holding the ball, and the Tigers are going to get a free. They're going to have to be quick. 20 minutes gone.
Centres it across to Will at half back for Loxton. Tries to drive them forward. Drives them back over where he just received it from. Ball comes out. Loxton with numbers out this side, but can't get a handle on the football. And that's the difference in the game at the moment. Renmark handling the ball with much more surety and more skill and being able to put pressure on the Tiger defence quicker. Loxton unable to grab that ball and move it forward quickly and put the pressure on. Ball comes back and across towards Nathan Zunic, playing a long way from goal at half back today.
He just bombs it back up the line. That's a fair kick. No one able to get underneath that. It's running to the boundary line. Loxton managed to rake it in. I reckon that's Harley Campbell. Campbell drives it to Jackson, spoiled over the line. Brodie Rover just make sure that goes, Adrian Herodor make sure that goes out of bounds.
An interesting attacking option going to Tristan Jackson. He's probably the shortest player they have in their forward line, always amongst numbers. He's the one that should be sitting front and square. Big fella Prince grabs it out of ruck, can't get it forward. Ball goes to, I reckon that might have been might have been Fisher in there. I reckon John Fisher couldn't get free. Up goes to Prince again. Takes it out of the ruck himself this time, but can't get a clear look at it. Ball comes out from Renmark. Couple of handballs. Comes clear of the pack, but only as far as Fisher. Gets onto his left foot. Snaps it into the middle. And this time Tristan Jackson comes from behind his opponent. Manages to dive forward and take a slips catch. And will now take a shot at goal for Loxton from... He'll kick from about 35 out. Almost directly in front. Normally a pretty good kicker of the football, this young fella.
There's something about those career goal sneaks from the forward pocket. You can just never take your eyes off where they're going to get pop up.
Played a lot of his footy not far from here, mostly at Paringa. Comes in, misses to the other side for another behind for Loxton, which takes them to 2-4-16, trailing Renmark 7-7-49. But a purple patch in the last 5 minutes of actually getting the ball forward and having some opportunities. Unfortunately, only 1 goal from 3 shots at goal.
Yeah, stem the flow slightly, but they've still conceded a couple of goals this quarter. They go the kick out, Renmark, but it's not marked. Humpo pushing the back. Free kick to Declan Johnson. Gets a handball out quickly to Dan Wolford. Drives it up the middle. Looking for a teammate. Oh, could have nearly been a clash there of 2 Renmark players, but they managed to see it just before it was Mitch Jenke got his hands on it.
Yeah, good talking out there. There are 2 options. Jenke squares it up to a Renmark player amongst 3 Tigers. And look at this. Through he goes. What a play. What
Ricky
a play.
Garrett.
What a play.
On the check side, if you don't mind, it was a helicopter kick, but it was a controlled helicopter, and he slots it through.
He was 1 on 3 there. Didn't give up the hunt. Went back in. Missed the ball. Went to his Loxton opponent, who tried to handball to one of his teammates. Garrett, too quick for him. Intercepted. And then went on to a bit of a right-hand down check side, straight through the middle.
8-7-55, Renmark leading Loxton 2-4-16, a 39-point margin. The biggest this game has had so far.
Gee, I'll tell you what, that puts Garrett right in the hunt for the very better goal of the day. On the fact that he intercepted, he provided the contest and then intercepted his two opposition players and ran away from them and kicked a beautiful goal.
This is 5-0 Riverland football. From McDonald's Renmark, back to the middle it goes. Vader there for Renmark, just holds it in, and good bit of pressure there from young Riley Walton from Loxton.
Gillard in the hands of trainers here, a bit of a problem with the right shoulder. He's already kicked 4 today. Do you think he might have done his bit and he could be subbed off?
Well, I haven't seen subs in Riverland footy yet, but the way Renmark are going, I think they could probably play a couple of players down. It wouldn't matter. Declan Johnson after disposal. He got the kick away anyway, and
Harrison Brown drives
inside
them forward.
50, spills over the back. That's Stockman trying to run onto it. Handballs it back in board. Brody Rover just walked that one over the boundary line, and we'll get a ball in. Oh no, must have gone over for a behind before.
I like the way they're playing, Renmark. It's just play on at all costs. Push the ball forward. Put the Tigers under pressure, and it's paying off.
40-point margin for the Rovers. Loxton now drive it up the eastern wing. Handballs back inboard to Will. Took a couple of bites at it.
They've just got numbers. It's almost like they're playing with about half a dozen more at the moment, or is it just those white Indigenous Guernseys, Lockie, that look more able for us to see them on this dark day?
Well, could be. Maybe that's the strategy with Renmark's Guernsey rotations. So it was Tregeagle there before.
Yep.
My apologies, not Will. Now up to left half forward for Loxton. Can they make something here late? 25 minutes gone. Big quarters this afternoon.
It's 25 minutes expired on the Ricatera Wine Room clock. And there it is, well called, Lockie Winnell. And that takes us to half-time at the Renmark Oval, with Renmark leading 8-7-55 to Loxton 2-4-16. Comfortable margin of 40 points, is it, Lockie? Should be one more point. Should be 8-8.
Yeah.
8-8-56 to 2-4-16. A 40-point margin at half-time. Some work in front of the Tigers in the second half. Stay tuned, because I'm tipping they'll come back.
A big half of footy to come. Let's go around the grounds with Trevor Scott at 5RM Footy Headquarters. Trevor, are you there? And it is Trevor Scott. Teams back on the field after half-time, going through their warm-ups. We're about to get the second half underway. Nobby Norton's alongside me. Nobby, the story so far has been one for the Rovers.
It certainly has, and goal scorers for Renmark, Nick Gillard with 4 goals, Brody Rover with 2, singles to Ricky Garrett, Declan Johnson for Loxton, coach Nathan Brown with a single, and young gun Ryder Montgomery with an absolute snap out of the pack on his left foot for a cracking goal in that quarter, their only goal in the quarter. Good players for both sides, plenty in the Rovers lineup, none better, without any sort of emphasis. Josh Vader's been good, Matt Wolford his normal good self, Mitchell Jenkins had a bit of it, Gillard with his 4 goals, but Lockie Lellman had a little bit of it, Herodor was there, probably one of their best backs, Harrison Brown a few touches, Dan Wolford on his wing, Ricky Garrett, current front runner for the 5RM Sports Saturday medal, 2025 medal at this stage, Lockie without going into the counting for it, and Brody Rover with a couple of goals. Zach Garter, he's only had to do what he's had to do, and he started off the game well. For Loxton, probably none better than Harley Campbell. Brandon Tregeagle's had a little bit of it as well. Coach Brown's tried as hard as he could, as has the captain, Jesse Will. Deegan Roth's been really solid across the back lines for them, and I thought Rolly Walton gave him a bit almost wherever he was playing. The big fella Carter Wright got his hand on it a little bit, and Montgomery a great goal.
Yeah, look, Loxton, patches of brilliance amongst inconsistency and coughing up the ball a few too many times realistically. Renmark making a lot of their opportunity, and also, not saying they've been fortuitous, but the structures that you mentioned, they stack up. It doesn't really matter who's in and around the ball or the action, the Rovers system works.
Yeah, and the system gives the player with the ball a little bit of time, just that fraction to make sure that he uses it properly and uses it efficiently, and that's the difference between the two teams at the moment. Renmark running in numbers, using the ball, sharing the ball quickly and cleanly, and providing good forward opportunities. Loxton battling away, haven't given up their efforts there, excellent effort, but they seem to be almost lone hands every time someone gets hold of the ball, and there's no sort of fluency in their ball use. Some of their better players using it okay. Of course, Harley Campbell's one, and Jesse Wills, he's doing his utmost to get them forward at every opportunity.
Yep, sitting around 12 degrees at the moment, but it feels like about 4. It is absolutely icy here at Renmark this afternoon. Not a breath of wind to speak of. Goal scoring advantage would be negligent, or neither at either end, I would have thought. Ball in the back underway for the third quarter. 5RM Riverland football. Loxton, Campbell that got his hands on it, but he was wrapped up and will go again. Yeah,
Gillard back out on the ground with that suspect shoulder strapped. Looks like he's moving all right.
Good tap from the Tigers, read by Spiro Polymides, who back turns and gets a kick away. It was a bit wobbly. Tigers trying to run onto this one. Riley Walton rakes it in and gets Bruce back inboard to traffic. He's got no one. Gets a handball out quickly to a teammate. Pops it up to the left forward pocket. Talon Eagle with the target, but it's punched over.
That was Hunter Westbrook driving that ball forward. Walton sort of got himself in a bit of a pickle there, but only because he didn't have many options when he looked forward. So he came back on into the middle. Talon Eagle playing almost a lone hand up there, up forward in the big man department. Maybe they should be mixing it up and trying to go small and that chaos ball.
So ball gets thrown back in. Good tap forward by the Renmark Rovers in Gartree. Now Nathan Brown for Loxton. Tries to scoop it up off the deck, but didn't go too far, and we'll have a ball up. Just about 70 out from the Tigers' goal.
The Loxton coach pounced on there by a pack of Rovers. Ball goes up. No one can get it loose in the pack, and it'll be a secondary bound up ball up. A little bit of a help back down on the ground from Ricky Garrett to Harley Campbell.
Yeah, Gartree flies up, but it's DePrince that gets his hands out and the ruck gets a kick away. Now on to Spiro Polymides, loose footy to left forward pocket, left forward flank, but the Rovers through Garrett, and now Harry Beavis drive it up to the right forward flank area, or more of a centre wing. Gillard gets a wobbly handball over the top, and now it's Toby Johnson. The first gamer gets a kick inside 50 to Declan Johnson. Declan Johnson has a shot from the pocket. It's straight through, and that's a goal.
First goal of the quarter, second to Declan Johnson, takes them to 9-8-62, leading Loxton 2-4-16. Look, you called it, Lockie, but I wouldn't have called that a handball. I'd have called that a throw. That was a very interesting ball forward by Gillard, but umpire not sided. But I can't imagine how you can get that ball forward like that with a handball.
You mentioned the play on at all cost, and that was probably the definition of it.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, not saying that it hasn't been happening all over the ground, but yeah, interesting play. But that's the game they play. They move the ball forward as quickly as they can, and the result was there.
Good spot for young Toby Johnson there to read where that one was.
Yeah.
So back to the middle it goes. The Renmark Rovers by 46.
Handy to give it to his brother too, so he won't get any trouble on the home front.
Rovers try to work this run through the middle. That handball just over the top of Lellman. Now Declan Johnson he didn't quite have it for long, but he's been pinged holding the ball.
Yeah, and that's Rothy at half back for Loxton, up on the centre wing, but solid defender for them today. Their best player behind centre.
Drives it up to left half forward. It's Jackson who couldn't quite scoop it in. Adrian Herodor for Renmark. A couple of bites at it now. He's been done holding the ball and probably was a bit of prior opportunity there.
Yeah, nice little touch there by Vader. He just kept the ball behind him and tried to keep it to his teammates' advantage, but he couldn't make the most of it. Brown trying to get past Johnson. Declan all over him at the moment. Polymiotis looks to drive Loxton forward. Umpire calls him to play on, so he goes long towards the goal square, towards the Prince. Couldn't grab it. Ball off hands. Came straight to...
that was Jackson.
Tristan Jackson, but he misses again. He's had a couple of opportunities, but not able to put them through the big white ones. A behind only to Loxton, which takes the margin back to 45 points in front of favour of Renmark. Come down, try and bring the ball out of defence down the middle to Beavis. Cops a bit of a contest, the ball goes back towards, I reckon that might have been Dan Wolford back there. Shoots it out wide, but only Loxton players outnumbering Renmark out here. Loxton player putting his head over the footy and comes out with the free kick, and that's Harley Campbell. He's certainly having a red-hot go for the Tigers.
Campbell drives it to the pocket. Good mark not taken by Eagle. Handball back inboard was De Prince the target, but Renmark getting on the intercept through Wolford, driving it through the middle. Now Loxton managed to get their hands back on it. There's your man Rothy again. Spills the kick. And that's going to spill out of bounds, one would think, and it does.
It was a bit typical of how the Tigers are attacking at the moment, that Eagle went up for the contest, managed to get back over the footy, and the only player he could give it to was the ruckman. There was no little fellas running past him, so if that had been Renmark, there would have been numbers going past options. De Prince in ruck being held will take the free kick for Loxton at half forward and drive them into attack. Handball's back to Campbell on the way past, who laces it out to Jesse Will at half forward for Loxton. He will drive him. He's called to play on, goes short into the forward pocket for Loxton and picks out a teammate, which I reckon is Hunter Westbrook there at half forward.
So Westbrook now, what's he going to do? Oh, smothered Harry Beavis.
Do you know what? I saw a bit of that on the AFL the other night with Carlton. They were kicking the ball as badly as what Loxton are in forward lines at the moment. And it's very costly, although they're an AFL side. Admittedly, this is a young Tiger lineup, only learning their craft.
So a ball in just on the cusp of the attacking 50 for Loxton, but Renmark, a couple of handball link-ups, drive it out to the broadcast wing. Umpires called a push.
Gee, that clearance from Renmark there was Vader to Wolford to Beavis clearance. It's just click, click, click. It's how many times you see that system in play. The big fella, the Prince here, doing his utmost to try and get Tigers forward. Goes short, looking for Will, but he can't get away from his opponent and get his hand on the ball. Through goes Caden Evans, but couldn't take possession. The ball goes out of bounds. We're bound to throw in the forward pocket. I'm thinking, if I'm De Prince here, he probably should have gone long to the goal square and tried to get numbers around the fall of the ball.
Well, you got to...
Because every time they go short and turn it over, Renmark are all over them. They quickly rebound it, take it down the other end.
Best coming forward they've got is Nathan Brown, the coach, and he's not in the forward line. So it's one to think about this afternoon. Yeah,
but even numbers, if they drive it deep, get numbers around the ball, if Renmark are going to rebound it, they rebound it from the defensive goal square, not from half back where they can open up the ground.
Renmark get a kick away out of the ball up, and it didn't go to a clean possession. Harrison Brown handballed back over the top of his head, got it to Nathan Brown.
Lucky
for
to
the
get
other
away
team.
with that. He did the old fend off and didn't. He must have got a handball out because he had his back to us, but did the fend off and really needed to dispose of that quickly and legally.
Yeah, Declan Johnson coming off for a quick rest. Nick Stockman back on for the Rovers. Ball up again, and we're going to go again. Ball just on the left forward flank for the Loxton
A little bit
Tigers.
of rugby creeping into this this footy at the moment. A little bit, the ball not moving far away from the packs. Up it goes. Ruckman up. This time to Prince tries to take it out of the air and grab it. Comes out from Hunter Westbrook to Coach Brown. He tries to find Will in the forward lines, but kicks it out of bounds on the full. That'll be a free kick to Herodor at halfback for Renmark. Looks to bring them out of defence.
You'd almost say that sums up the Tigers' day a bit, that
Yep.
kick from Coach Nathan Brown. Renmark go to centre it.
Beavers,
Oh,
through he comes. Couldn't grab it second attempt, but gets back over the footy, recovers, drives Renmark down the middle, but in the way is Deegan Roth for the Tigers in front of Brodie Rover, who was coming forward. Roth will hold the Rovers out and look to send Loxton back into attack. Kicks out this way and finds and overshoots the Tiger player, who was that was Brock Salmon. He couldn't quite reel that in. Got up, but couldn't quite get a handle on it. That many players coming off and on over here. I hope someone's checking their tickets when they're getting on the bus.
a ball then on broadcast wing to Prince. Couple of bites at it, shovels it out, and that is incorrect disposal. I think I could even see that one from here.
Unfortunately for the Prince, umpire Trussell was right in the van there and could see it. He almost threw it to the umpire.
Garrett with the kick for Renmark up to Rover, spills over the back, and Rollins tries to rake it in.
Yeah, ball trapped in his grasp and quickly pounced upon by the young fella, but playing his first game today, Toby Johnson.
62 plays 17 on the Berry Better scoreboard. Renmark with the lead. Ball up again.
Out comes Garrett with it to Wolford. Forward it goes for Renmark, but not anywhere. But mopping up back there is Harley Campbell. He's picking up a multitude of passes and goes to Roth again. Halfback, they're better players starting to link up a little bit, but not in front of centre. They're all behind centre. Called to play on Roth. Goes out of bounds with the footy. It'll be a boundary throw in.
Yeah, he'd be their best today by a considerable margin. I would have thought Harley Campbell.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Followed closely by Roth and the captain and coach. So pretty easy to find these 4 or 5 best. Renmark not so, because they've got plenty of contributors.
So tap doesn't go too far. Fisher for Loxton. It's filmed back in board. Brown, the coach, really didn't know which way to run.
Yeah, lovely
then
kick,
found
though.
Salmon in the far back pocket, and Loxton started to get a bit more control. There he is again.
Yeah,
Harley Campbell.
that was Romeo in the long sleeves back there, because Salmon long sleeves not playing today. In towards Roth at halfback. Handball out of the pack from Montgomery. Shoots it across to, that was, I think that was Owen Gerron there. Tried to get it forward, but mopped up at halfback by Renmark. And the ball comes back. This time it was Zunic at halfback. Lovely mark from Gillard. Reaches tall, drives it into the middle, into the danger spot. But standing in the way is Loxton defender. Is Loxton's Harley Campbell yet again.
See that mark from Gillard before?
Yep.
We'll just talk about Dan Wolford now. Kicks back inside attacking 50, and Gillard with another mark, and he'll go back for a shot on goal.
For a shot of his fifth. That was an excellent mark, wasn't it?
Yeah, concerning thing if you're a Tigers supporter. Not one Tiger went in for a spoil. Just let Gillard mark it. They were watched.
I think it would have been a hard mark to spoil. I hear what you're saying, but Gillard, he's got that ability to get up and stretch up and take the ball at its highest point. But like you said, not even anyone chopping his arms.
Yeah, and maybe not. Almost let him watch.
Yeah.
So Gillard has the shot.
No problems here. Straight through the middle it goes. That's his 5th, and Renmark's 10th takes him to 10-8-68, leading the Loxton Tigers 2-5-17 on the Berry Better scoreboard. I think what we want out of the rest of this game, and for those listening, is to see what sort of fight Loxton have in them, and who else can step up and help Harley Campbell and Deegan Rothy try and stem the tide. Best way to keep Renmark scoreless is to keep it up your end, and and keep it away from them.
Yeah, look, mentioned before, moments of brilliance, but just undone by a lot of simple mistakes. 51 points, the margin on the Berry Better scoreboards. 5-0 in Riverland football for McDonald's Renmark. Star Mine back to round one. Albeit it was a similar situation at Waikerie, where the Magpies held a fairly big lead over Loxton, but 8 minutes of brilliance, the Tigers got back in that.
Yeah, they can do it when it clicks, but the way they're playing at the moment, they just really need. There's Garrett, comes out of the middle for Renmark, drives them forward, looking for Gillard, but this time his opponent's in front of him. But Gillard gets onto the loose ball, centres it beautifully. Oh, almost taken in by the Renmark player. Loxton's Owen Gerron tries to come out of the half-back. He had 2-on-1. Back to Rothy. This time that ball was incorrectly disposed of. Great tackle by Rothy at half-back. Gets up, drives him out of defence. Looking for John Fisher, who couldn't bring it in. And the ball goes out of bounds. He was hotly hunted there by Nathan Zernick, playing a role we haven't seen him much in, across half-back, but really, he brings the leg speed to that half-back line.
First A-grade game for the year for Zernick, after playing in last year's premiership.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to play in another one.
So a ball in, 60 out from Renmark goal. Gerron couldn't quite get it clean pick up. Toby Johnson spits it out to Garrett, now inboard to Dan Wolford. Looks for a target, they've all spilled over and he was tripped, and that is Gillard with the free kick.
Yeah, he's got his hands full down there today, has Hayden Stevens, has had all day. Gillard kicking 5 goals. This time kind of took his eye off the ball and started playing the player a little bit, and that's not the way to beat Gillard. Stevens showed earlier, when he hit the ball hard, he could keep it away from him, but if you're going to stand there and watch Nick Gillard play, he's going to give you the football lesson that you come to watch.
So a kick straight in front. He's had to go and get it from out of the crowd.
So do you reckon he might have to go and get it again so he won't kick it too far, Lockie?
Well, this will be number 6.
Yeah, it'll be second goal in a row this quarter, and starting to prove. I'm not sure what you do if you're Loxton here. Whether you leave Stevens there or whether you try someone else.
Directly in front.
Makes no mistake, does Nick Gillard. Kicks his 6th goal for the match, and Renmark's 11th takes him to 11-8-74, leading Loxton 2-5-17.
5-0 in Riverland football for McDonald's at Renmark. Peak chicken is upon us with the new McWings at Macca's. We're looking just on the 15 minute mark of the third quarter. The Tigers, we came here today to see if the Tigers were the real deal in 2025 after we've seen, as you mentioned, moments of brilliance this year. But I think what we found out today is the Tigers have got a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, conditions haven't helped. They've got a pretty tall lineup, and it's not a day to bring a tall team to this venue, but they're not using them either. They're not sitting back and slowing it down and trying to go long and to these tall fellas and get around them. They get sucked into the game that Renmark play, trying to move it quicker. Well, no one moves it as quick as Renmark do, so don't even try.
Loxton try to shark the footy off the deck. Can't quite do it. Wrapped up by Renmark, and they pop it over the top. Finds Cornelius, I think.
Yeah, out to Harrison Brown.
Toby Johnson.
Yeah, to Harrison Brown. Ball goes high to Gillard. He's favouring that shoulder again. I'm thinking he might be about to rack the queue for the day, and why wouldn't you? 6 goals, game in hand at this stage. He's heading to the boundary to be replaced by Brodie Rover in the forward line. I'm thinking it might be a case of ice up and have a spell.
Toby Johnson now from the ball up in attacking 50, kicks inside, and a great kick there from the Rovers up from Morgan Edwards inside. Gets it to Matt Smith. Matt kicks the goal from the pocket, and the long sleeve team of the day gets its first goal.
I think the issue here, Lockie, just watching Nick Gillard come from the ground, he has his left shoulder strap. It's his right pectoral, I reckon, he's having trouble with. It's not his right shoulder, it's his right pectoral muscle.
Right.
So we'll try and have a look at the injury report after the game and see what happens.
Here at Renmark, 5-0 Riverland football. Scoreboard Renmark 12-8-80. Loxton 2-5-17, a 63-point margin for the Rovers so far. And if we look through the scores this year, the Rovers could be on for their biggest win.
Yeah, there's two people very happy that that Nick Gillard's come from the ground. One of them being probably Coach Nathan Brown from Loxton, but the happiest person there was Hayden Stevens, who's been standing him. He's just come from the ground for a spell. I think he's more relieved than happy.
Yeah, I was just looking at a few players that might be able to match that one up. So ball up to half forward for Loxton, but high tackle and going to get a free kick here. That was Harley Campbell that was wrapped up there. So a free kick on centre half forward for Loxton. Campbell shoots it left, drops short. Caden Evans was the player that got a hand on it, and he's been done holding the ball.
Yeah, put his head under the tackle, and umpire right on it says, you can't duck into it, Caden. You've got to try and get rid of it. Ball comes out of halfback from Renmark, looking for Vader. One bite at it, can't bring it in. The Renmark coach takes it out of bounds for a boundary throw at halfback. You know what I'm thinking? You know how I've just suggested that maybe ice Nick Gillard down and give him a spell. I think he's not thinking that way. He's wanting to get back out there for another quarter and maybe turn that 6 into a 10.
We haven't seen one of those for a while in Riverland footy.
Into a moose.
Well, I was just going to say he's dropped off the leading goal kickers for a bit, Gillard, but might be back in there after today.
Ball comes out of the pack, tried to squeeze it forward, did Brandon Tregeagle. He's had a fair effort today. Can't get it to anyone in particular. But I like what he did there, the chaos ball. Put the Renmark defence under pressure, gave his teammates an opportunity to wrap it up. So it'll be a ball up at half back for Loxton. Ball comes out from Gardery from Renmark. Can't get it clear. See another ball up.
The Loxton Tigers trail by 63, approaching the 19-minute mark of the third quarter. 5 on Riverland football. Brown for Loxton tried to read that one. And there's been a free kick paid here.
Dan Wolford got the ball out and was then dealt with after he disposed of it. So he gets up, shoots it across the wing, looking for and finding one long sleeve player out there. Matt Smith, he stuck the skivvy on under his guernsey. He went short to Jenke, couldn't quite get it. This time, Jenke dealt with after he got rid of it as well. So he now gets a free kick. Running onto the ground is Lelman here without an opponent. Going forward deep.
He can smell a goal.
Yeah, I tell you what, if they can get it forward, and Declan Johnson's got it, looks up, goes long, not long enough. But, ooh, out of bounds. Renmark had him outnumbered there, and Lelman all alone 10 metres out from goal. Only needed to be put up out in the middle, would give him a chance to get at it, because he did not have an opponent.
Yeah, Johnson just had to look at a little bit wider. He would have seen he had a couple more teammates.
It's more about voice around Johnson, because he's looking to hunt the footy. It's someone saying, get it clear, get it long. So ball comes out of the back lines. This time from Loxton up and high. No one can bring it in. The big fella claims it, but off hands will be a ball up.
5 on Riverland football for McDonald's Renmark. Now in time on 20 and a half minutes played.
63-point margin to Renmark on the Berry Better scoreboard.
That's going to spill out of bounds again. 60 out from the Rovers goal. No win to speak of.
That Ricatera wine room clock is winding down here in the third quarter, Lachlan Winnell.
Yeah, it's going to be a big fourth quarter for a couple of reasons. We'll look at some stats because we could have a shift of the goal kickers for the lead for the competition after today.
Yeah, Vader tried to break out of the pack there at half forward for Renmark and drive them into attack, but couldn't get clear. Ball goes up again, just outside the 50 for Renmark. Back to Vader again, cuts through, gets it off his knee, which is not a correct disposal, and get penalised for holding the ball. That's Caden Evans, takes the free kick for Loxton, drives them forward and finds Hunter Westbrook, who takes a mark under pressure. If not a mark, gets a free kick for in the back. No, the umpire says, I'll have it. He's going to ball it up.
So a ball up on the scoreboard wing here at Renmark. 5 on Riverland football.
No strapping on Gillard as he comes back out the changes. Do you think just a little bit of that magic deep heat?
Oh, he just feels freer. He just wants to kick some goals.
Maybe a bit of rapid gel, you know, the stuff they use on horses
that
takes away all the aches and pains.
And it's clearly marked on the tub, not for shim and use.
Works.
You see it in plenty of AFL videos.
Lockie,
I don't doubt it.
Lockie, you see at home in my bathroom cabinet. When old people like me, you've got to use it.
Pre-radio days, Nobby, I may have worked for a business that sold a bit of that stuff. Anyway, moving on. Statute of limitations now beyond us. Wing to Caden Evans. Went to play onto Brown, but then decided not to. Turns around, and it's going to be turned over again. Renmark, Herodor.
Yeah, handball.
Got his hands on it.
Did the old 1-2 handball, but couldn't. Tried to get away as quick as he
Goes to
could to get the ball back.
If there was a RFL Grand Final sprint, Adrian Herodor, I reckon it'd be the player you'd want to watch.
He's been a revelation for
So
Renmark
fast.
across halfback.
Yeah.
Tall, gets to the ball and can move.
Oh,
Up goes
Gardry.
the ruckman, Gardry.
Spits it out, Garrett to Vader. Vader inside 50 for Renmark, finds Brodie Rover, and he is a man that's eyeing off the top goal kickers for the competition, because before today he was sitting equal second. Brodie Rover.
Gee, that was wonderful delivery from the Renmark coach, but delivery because he was given the ball early, given it quick, and had space to look up and use, and no pressure on him. And that's been the story of the day for Renmark today. They've used the ball so efficiently, shared it, and given the player in best position the opportunity to use it best. Gee whiz, you wouldn't mind playing ahead of Josh Vader and others when they got that sort of time to lace it out to you.
So Brodie Rover kicks from just inside the 50, straight in front, minor score.
And there it is. There's the three-quarters column siren, which takes Renmark 12-9-81, leading Loxton 2-5-17, a 64-point margin here at three-quarter time. Don't tune out because there's plenty more to play out here in the last quarter.
Absolutely. A big fourth quarter to come. We must go around the grounds with Trevor Scott at 5RM Footy Headquarters. Sure is. Fourth quarter now back underway. It's the sun now shining here at Renmark after a bit of rain earlier. Up to half forward for Loxton almost, but a free kick to Renmark straight
Herodor
away.
takes the mark at half-back, outreached his opponent, drives it out wide to the wing. Forward go Renmark yet again to half forward, and out comes in speed was Declan Johnson. He's had a pretty good game today, Lockie. He kicked 2 goals, presented at half forward, goes long again. Through goes Jenke. He's also had a bit of a day out. Cuts across half forward, goes towards the goal square, but cut out by a Loxton defender.
So Loxton now bring it to the grandstand wing, and that is
Ross Romeo, but it's out of bounds on the full.
Free kick.
It's Tom
Declan.
Johnson. Yeah, I might have picked the wrong player up earlier. Might have been.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt you. He's pretty quick.
I thought it was a 3. Might have been Vader, actually, on the other side.
Declan Johnson wheels around, gives himself a good 10 metres, drives to the top of the goal square. Ball spills out, touched over the line, and we'll get a minus score for the Renmark Rovers.
See that commitment to spoil even in attack. Like the Renmark forward was well out of position, but came through and spoiled his Loxton defender, so they couldn't have easy ball. So they give you nothing, the Rovers.
Nathan Brown, the coach, taking the kick out, brings it up to the right back flank, tackled from Renmark, but umpire says play on. Jesse Will dodges a couple of players, pops it over the top, finds Campbell, takes a mark.
He handles the ball with surety, but gee whiz, turned it over.
It's a low kick, finds Josh Vader to the top of the 50 for Renmark. Here's Ricky Garrett. He's in Renmark's top 6 this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely, and Vader, you cannot turn the ball over to Vader. Here comes the handball back from Garrett to Vader. He drives long, he drives straight. It hit the post.
Oh, that could have been a very better goal of the day there.
You cannot turn the ball over to Josh Vader because he makes you pay every time. And I reckon, but for the generosity of Garrett, Loxton was saved a goal because he could have gone back and drilled that, but he gave it back to the coach. Ball comes out of defence, this time to Brown. He looks up, shoots it across to Harley Campbell on the wing for Loxton, looks to drive them forward, looking for, this time, Roth up forward. Not a bad move. He's having a fair game. Bring him up forward, give him a chance. Shoots it in long towards Eagle. Eagle gets one hand on it, can't get a hold of it. Back after it.
Riley Walton, Talon Eagle both arguing for it. Umpire says, I'll have it. Now inside, attacking 50 for the Tigers. That's what we needed to see more of this afternoon from Loxton.
Good move by Tigers to push Roth forward. He's had a good game at half-back for him. They're 60-odd points down. Why not throw him up forward and see how he goes in the forward lines?
Morgan Edwards there putting the somewhat hard tag on Campbell for Loxton. But the spoil's over the top. There's Perry. Out to Jenke. Now Lelman on fullback. Drives it to the eastern wing.
Yeah, nice mark from Harrison Brown there, reaching in over his Loxton opponent. He's had a pretty serviceable game too, but as has most of the Renmark side.
So
Matt Wolford at
half-back. Now on half-back, gets told to play on, Nobby.
Yeah.
Spits it up, little kick over the top.
This time he finds, I reckon that's Benjamin Keeley out there, Lockie the 40.
Yep.
Young fella looks to move it on. Moves it down the wing towards his teammate. This time cut out by Hunter Westbrook, but he's dumped to the ground by the Renmark players who just have not given them an inch all day.
No, they really have been in a league of their own this afternoon. They lead by 65. The biggest win for the year was a 70-point win in round 1, 79-point win in round 1.
Campbell again comes out of the pack with the footy, shoots it across to his teammate, Hunter Westbrook, who spots up Talon Eagle for Loxton. He will have a rare shot at goal for the Panthers. I don't reckon he's had a lot of... He's worked hard, Talon Eagle, don't get me wrong. He's been their hardest working big man across half forward, but limited opportunities and limited chance to get his hands on it. So he will line up he will kick this from all of 50 metres out. You'd be thinking a slightly wet ball. He's going to need his very best kick to get this through the big white ones.
Kicks to the town end, puts it on the left foot.
And
got the accuracy, hasn't got the distance, drops short. Loxton still hungry. Jackson tries to crumb it and shark it through, spills over for a minor score. And
that was only 2 metres short, that kick from Eagle. He did his absolute utmost to get a goal.
64 points the margin. Loxton trail.
Renmark all over the place, options everywhere. Jenky short in the back pocket for Renmark. Takes the ball with no one anywhere near him. Looks up, finds Zach Gartery. Clean shaven Zach Gartery too, Lockie. It's taken me a bit of time to get used to that.
Yeah, a bit of a haircut as well. Still got a bit of a mullet going on though.
Perry takes the mark at halfback for Renmark under hot pressure from the Loxton coach, Nathan Brown, but takes a solid mark. Look up, Renmark got plenty of players back here under the ball. Up goes Caden Evans, couldn't drag it in for Loxton. Ball comes out. He cops a high one, but it's play on. It'll be a ball up.
Ball up on the broadcast wing at Renmark. 5 Riverland football for McDonald's Renmark. Just on 6 minutes gone. There's Brody Rover now doing the ruck work, but it finds Caden Evans, who gets it out to Fisher.
Lovely mark there,
marked
halfback.
on halfback by
Morgan
Edwards for Renmark. And finds Dan Wolford, just inboard a little, just holds up. Might pop it back here to Gartry. Gartry screaming for it. Little, just on 10-metre kick to the left. Now, I reckon he's going to, no, doesn't drive it up the line, goes to short, inside 45. They talk about this all the time these days.
Here we are.
Toby Johnson.
Yep.
Now it goes to walk across the line. Dan Wolford sharks his opponent, gets a handball over the top to Perry. And now they go coast to coast, using all that 140-metre width here at Renmark.
Ball
Still
comes back
in
to
board.
Talon Eagle, back to Tristan Jackson. Bit of back and forth between the two of them. Try to get it forward, but can only get it. A Renmark player intercepts that. I can't help but feel that Dan Wolford also almost hasn't had anyone marking him too tightly today. I know Polymiotis has been near him on occasion, but gee whiz, you can't give him that much room to move.
Jesse Will taking the ruck there for Loxton. That's a bit unique. So on half forward now for Loxton. They lock it in, just eating out time in this game. 7 minutes gone. Renmark convincingly in front. 82 plays 18.
Ball comes out of the ruck to Tigers' advantage, but they can't break clear of the pack. And this time it's John Fisher taken to ground with the footy. Or is it, no, it's Riley Walton, I think. He's had a fair game. Ball comes out again. Loxton have probably won their share of the hit-outs, but they haven't been able to use the footy.
Now inboard to
There's
Riley Walton, wrapped up. And that's a free kick to the Rovers, or is it not?
He had no option. He had to take him on and try and get towards goals, but he just didn't have any space to move in. Renmark are brilliant at closing down space when they don't have it and creating space when they do have it, which we're seeing here right now. Out to the big fella Gartery, takes the mark, pushed to the ground after he just grabbed it by Talon Eagle. And see, Loxton haven't come across the ground, but up straight back out there. This time back out to Benjamin Keeley, chips it around, finds Perry on the halfback flank, and he drives Renmark out of defence, but only to the big fella to Prince for Loxton. Takes the mark, handballs off, Loxton go back into attack to Walton, dishes out the handball to Fisher. He goes at goals, steps inside a play, goes for goals, but Renmark back behind the ball.
Is that socket through off Evans' foot for a goal?
He's
I
claiming
reckon
it.
Caden's claiming
He's
this.
claiming it. You know what they're going to do? They're going to go to the video replay here and just see what's going on.
Come on, Caden, sell it to him. You kicked it, mate. Tell him, let him know. Umpires having
I think the goal umpire likes it.
He's done it.
I'm trying to work out why he was talking to the central umpire, because if he thought it was a goal, it was a goal.
Caden Evans gets Loxton's third goal of the day, brings the margin back to 58 points. They have been trailing all afternoon. But a kick at goal from Riley Walton that was a bit short. Zach Archery went to mark it, but just must have missed it in the sun or something, and it went straight through, and Caden got half a toe onto it.
That's typical of Caden Evans. He is one of those players who just never, ever stops playing.
So, yeah, right to the final siren.
Yep. And every play phase, he will not give up on a ball.
Well, on a day when Loxton haven't got much, he might be a contender for the Hoops Full Drive Centre Young Charger Top Apprentice. Umpires called a ruck. Is this a 6-6-6 infringement here, or was it a player inside the square from the kick from the ball up?
Jesse Will
Free kick
takes
to
the mark.
Loxton regardless.
Will takes the mark, drives it forward on his left foot down the middle, over Eagle's head, but he's back on it, fighting hard. The big fella's been fighting hard for the footy all day, just hasn't had a lot of opportunities. Great tackle out of the back lines there by Tristan Jackson, He wins the free kick for holding the ball, shoots out the handball to Coach Brown. He's drifting past, looks for Eagle wide, but gee whiz, he's got 3 to beat. And unfortunately, he can't beat them all. And that's Herodor pulls him down and wins the free kick for holding the ball. Eagle had no other option but to take him on.
Herodor has the kick away straight up the line. Cale Smith for Loxton couldn't quite get underneath it. We'll get a ball up.
Yeah, Brock
Right
Salmon.
in front of us.
Yeah, Brock Salmon got the ball for Loxton but couldn't break free. Ball goes up again. Carter Wright gets hands to it. Chain of handballs. Ball comes across to Smith. He shoots out the handball even further. This is to Harley Campbell. Takes a bounce. Comes back onto his left foot. Fakes a handball. Ran too far. He knew he was getting to the limit, which is why he looked for the handball rather than kicking it. And he knew he was getting right to the limit there, and he did run too far. Matt Wolford takes possession of the ball. Kick to teammate. This time,
Jackson.
Dan Wolford run down by Tristan Jackson. Gets a free kick for it, but he doesn't go back behind his mark. Always troubles me that. You know, when you win a free kick, you get play to advantage almost all over the ground, except for you're right under the umpire's nose. He said you've got to go back behind the mark. I've just paid a free kick.
Yeah.
How do you work that out?
It is a bit of a quirk of the game.
Quirk's a good word. Like.
Yeah, one of the nuances.
Yeah,
Five
not saying the umpire didn't play the
No,
right decision,
no,
just
it's-
saying it's
yeah.
an interesting
rule.
yeah.
This is 5 in Riverland football. McDonald's Renmark. Loxton now inside attacking 50. And Zach Gartrey, a great defensive mark.
He loves those.
Maybe a late mark of the day contender.
He loves those where he can just...
It's
25
25-metre
minute
penalty
yeah.
paid. Yeah.
Renmark players literally everywhere here. Lelman gave him an option at half-back. Now out on this side we have Benjamin Keeley, all on his own. Half-back for Renmark, looks to take them forward.
Matt Smith screaming for it. Goes to centre it, and that's a... Oh, it just was off target.
I reckon that might be Renmark's first mistake of the day in defence, first turnover, and it's come at this late stage of the game, Lockie, on the Ricker Terrace wine room clock. How have we gone for time?
We're at 12 and a bit minutes gone, and
Yeah, it's almost...
Caden Evans was the one who read it well and got the mark, so he's going to have a shot at goal, 45 out.
So halfway through the last quarter, they make their first blue of the day in defence, and it couldn't have gone to probably a more dangerous player than Caden Evans, who puts through his second goal of the quarter and his second consecutive goal in the last 3 minutes. He can hold his head up high. He's trying to bring his team back in the game, and I think this is where you've got to be if you're Loxton. You've got to win the quarter. That's all you've got to aim for, is try and win the quarter, finish well.
Well, they're already in front, so if they can just hold on to it, they'll win this quarter. They brought the margin back to 52, and as we joked about earlier, percentage is pretty important this year, so every goal might count for that last spot in the 4.
It's not going to be important for Renmark, but it's going to be
No.
important for everyone below them.
Berry, Loxton and Loxton North in particular, and Wakery for that matter as well. Ball up, back in the middle. Renmark. It was Gartrey that tried to handball and he was getting wrapped up, and we'll go again.
Yeah.
Coach Nathan Brown back on the ball now. And this is the thing. So, tap, Renmark, Dan Wolford. Oh, lovely spot. Just bombs it.
He's had a cracking game
To
too,
space.
by the way.
Ricky Garrett, but it bounces the wrong way. Loxton get their hands on it, but now it's the right way for Ricky Garrett, who turns back inboard, finds Dan Wolford. Dan Wolford runs over the paint at 50, shoots. That's straight through the middle of the big sticks, and there's another goal for the Rovers. Takes them out to a 58-point lead.
Not sure why Ricky Garrett did that. He might have cost himself best on ground by giving it to Dan Wolford. He's gone, just slipped past him in that voting, I think, because Dan's had plenty of it, as has Ricky. But that's the way they play it. They play the team game. They play the give it to the teammate in a better position, give it to the teammate with a bit of space, a bit of time to use the ball better than you have the opportunity to do.
It's a team system. So 13-10-88, Renmark leading Loxton 4-6-30. A bit of a late surge from the Tigers, but it's been all Renmark this afternoon. Here at Renmark for round 10. Back in the middle, Loxton. Jesse Will tries to pick up the crumbs off the deck. He has about 8 bites at it.
Absolutely no one running from behind to go past him. Like, if that was Renmark, there'd have been a couple of options going past him.
Managed to find Brown and then got it out to Ross Romeo on the broadcast wing. He's just holding up for a second. Gets told to play on. Drives it wide.
Yeah, nice mark nearly from Lelman here at halfback. Got a really good bite of it. Couldn't quite keep it in his hands. He's been solid, as they all have. Look, going through their lineup, you can't find anyone who hasn't
No,
had a crack at
they've
it.
all contributed.
Yep, and that's always the case, isn't it, in a team effort like they put up. Big fella up from Loxton, but chopping it out is Morgan Edwards. Out to Dan Wolford yet again. Goes forward.
Now Loxton on halfback. Intercepts.
Herodor.
There's Herodor again. Drives, sharks his opponent, goes inboard and just bombs it inside 50 to a bit of space. Stockman, can he get underneath it? He can't. Now Garrett back turns the other way. It's a bit like the Harlem Globetrotters at the moment.
Out to Harrison Brown there. Goes for what a mark.
Oh.
Now there's a mark. We had to wait for it nearly all day, Lockie, but I'm going to maybe think that could be the top of the podium in the mark of the day.
Finds Zunic.
Yep.
First game for the year in the A grade.
Yep. First foray forward for Nathan Zunic today. He's done a lot of work off half back. First game back in. They move him forward and he takes a hanger and kicks a goal.
Gets him out to a 64-point margin, 14-10 and 94. Leading Loxton 4-6-30 on the Berry Better scoreboard. And they are the Riverland's leading stockist of J-Car.
Yeah, it just goes to show you how solid Renmark's system is. It doesn't matter who pops up where, they play their role. And look, they're going to be very tough to beat this year. And they've got, like you said earlier on, mate, they've got a few missing from the lineup today. I saw the veteran Trevor Thorpe out the back having a bit of a spell early on.
Give me some tough decisions because the players that have stepped up are holding their own. That's the thing.
Do you know, I don't know if there will be. I think in teams like this, players pick themselves. And those that maybe miss out or unlucky, they normally understand the situation because it's player for position, you know.
Back to the middle it goes. Is there something left for the Tigers on what's been a pretty disappointing day? Riley Walton dishes it up off the deck to DePrince. Wrapped up, and we'll have a ball up. Still inside the centre square.
Roth going back into defence for Loxton, and Zunic going back into defence for Renmark. So he might be playing on the wing. It's not Zunic, it's actually Matt Smith out here on the wing.
Multiple goal scorers for the Rovers as always.
Well, the exercise bike going off the bench and away to the change room. Does that mean Renmark think they got this one wrapped up?
Well, 17 and a half minutes gone in the fourth. They're up by considerable margin, 64 points. Inboard to Brody Rover, dishes it out to Dan Wolford. Dan Wolford's got an absolute paddock, has a bounce. Handballs over the top
To
to Brown. Brown inside 50. Declan Johnson the target, a little bit off track. Still working their way towards goal. Ball up. Free kick to the Rovers.
Played the advantage, did they?
I'm not sure. The umpire's going to bring this one back. I think so. We're going to get a free kick here to the Renmark
I reckon
Rovers.
that might be Toby Johnson out there. Lockie's a long way away from me, but
Hang on,
can you get the
they'll get the
can you get the
periscope out.
2050s on him?
So that 140-metre boundary width is pretty big here. That is Cody Cornelius.
Cody Cornelius came into the team in Liam Jackson's place, and Liam Jackson would kick a goal or two if he was out there, and I think Cody might be lining up for his first goal of the day.
So from the right forward pocket, it's a fair angle. He's going to be kicking from about 35 out, you would think.
Beavis coming from the ground and Perry back on into defence. Solid games from both those players.
Cornelius spits it up, but that's a minor score. The Renmark Rovers takes them out to a 65-point lead on the Berry Better scoreboard. 95 plays 30. Are we going to crack the ton this afternoon?
Ball comes down the middle, straight down the middle from Loxton, and knocked on from Owen Gerron, and he copped a bit of treatment after he knocked it on, so he'll come back and take the free kick for Loxton, almost in the centre of the ground, slightly scoreboard side. Looks up, goes short again. This time to Riley Walton's had a serviceable game for the Tigers, can hold his head up high, goes short, finds Will, switches the ball right out towards us to Hunter Westbrook, running down his wing. He's taken the mark on the 50, looks around, hits Talladega on the lead. Unfortunately, the big fella had it all to himself, took his eye off the pill and dropped it, and rightfully so, was thrown to the ground after the umpire had blown his whistle for a ball up. And unfortunately, you just cannot do that stuff.
So he gets the kick anyway from the same spot as he marked, well, was about to mark it.
So you're sitting here watching, it's a comedy of errors.
Yeah, albeit. It is true definition of junk time.
Yep.
Well, we've hit the 20-minute mark now.
So on his left foot here, perfect place to be shooting for goal. Can't leave it too far left. Needs to aim at the post to his right and try and just sneak it in for Loxton's 5th goal.
It's on the way.
Too much.
Hooked
He
around and
allowed too much to the right hand side, did Talon, and that's a behind. Ball comes back into play to Rhett Perry in the back pocket for Renmark.
it takes Loxton to 31. They trail Renmark 95 currently.
Comes up the boundary line. Hunter Westbrook again shoots the ball across to Harley Campbell. Handball to Caden Evans. He goes long looking for Talon Eagle again, but the ball goes off his fingers and out of bounds. Renmark player says it's a free kick, but the boundary umpire says, I reckon it was touched. I'm going to throw this in.
So we'll get a ball in right in front of the Renmark Rovers football club rooms here at Renmark. Still got the blue neon lights, if you like your 80s vibes, Nobby. They switch them on late, I'm told.
Is that right?
Yep, the boys tell me the switch still works. Ball up, still inside, deep inside. Loxton's attacking 50.
Yep, game all but over here at the Renmark Oval with the Renmark Rovers leading by 64 points. Have you got there?
Yeah, 64 on the Berry Better scoreboard.
65 on the scoreboard over there, but I don't know. I think they've missed. I think they've put it on the wrong team, Lockie.
We'll follow this one with interest.
But anyway,
Nonetheless, it's
10-goal margin in favour of the Renmark Rovers.
5
in this
Riverland
game.
football for McDonald's Renmark. Peak Chicken is upon us with the new McWings.
So they're led by 64 at three-quarter time, and it's really been a break-even quarter. De Prince reaches up, takes the footy, but reaches over Brody Rover's shoulder in the ruck contest. Rover looks up, brings the ball out wide, but Westbrook up for the task for Loxton. But Lelman, he's also up for the task, moving quickly and beautifully for the Rovers. Dish the ball off to Perry, who comes down the line. Oh, lovely mark taken under pressure there by Declan Johnson, who's been a really good player for him today. Kicked a couple of goals and played up and down the ground.
Maybe that is a late 5rm.com mark of the day contender for Declan Johnson.
Shoots it out to Dan Wolford. A little bit of keepings off here. Ball comes back to where it started to Rhett Perry. Looks up, finds Zach Gardry. It's a bit of keepings off here from Renmark. That's going to keep it away from him. Goes short, but cut out by Hunter Westbrook again, is it? No, he's got the orange. Yeah, it's Hunter Westbrook.
Yeah, the number 11.
Yeah.
Free kick. Umpire's going to ball it up, or is it going to be a free kick?
What's this all about?
Ricky, I'm wondering if that might have been a... No? Okay.
Anyway, up it goes. Ruckman up. Fisher with the ball. Handballs to Westbrook. He goes forward for Loxton, but cut out by Herodor. Probably the best defender on the ground today. Him and Roth for Tigers. They've been the best player for each of their respective teams. Out of the pack comes Smith from Loxton. Drives them forward. Renmark player couldn't quite take the mark. Polymiatis for Loxton. Gets the handball out to Fisher. He snaps it forward for Loxton to Tristan Jackson. Cannot get hold of it. Does, but tackled well.
Wrapped up. Oh, still inside. Jenke now for Renmark. Shook the tackle. Jesse Will reads the crumbs, but umpire says bring it back. It's a free kick to
Free
Renmark.
kick to Renmark.
Jesse Will just...
With only probably seconds to go on the Ricatera wine room clock, Renmark's still giving them nothing. Absolutely nothing in terms of release of pressure. Ricky Garrett takes the mark at half back, chips it short to Herodor. Gee, same names, aren't they? Just keep yelling out.
It's 5RM football. Herodor, kick drop short of Stockman, finds Polymiatis.
See,
now
no one-
out to
no one-
Harley Campbell, but there it is, full time. A big win for the Renmark Rovers. 14-11-95 to my calculations. Loxton 4-7-31. A comprehensive lead from start to finish. It really has been a day for the Rovers. Big wrap up to come and a big afternoon of footy to wrap up here at 5RM. We'll go back and go around the grounds one last time, and then we'll come back and wrap up this game and do all of our awards here at 5RM Riverland Football at Renmark. Trevor Scott, are you there?